Welcome to my DOS installation video. I believe this is take 10 now, a nice round number, so maybe it will work. This is for DOS Disk Operating System, the installation onto our VMware. So I have already downloaded from our class downloads the DOS disks onto a folder on my desktop. Here we have all 5 disks and the boot disk. So in order to put on VMware, we need to start our VMware. And we're going to choose New Virtual Machine, and you get this silly little pop-up. And this says, Welcome to the Machine Wizard. So we want to do a typical configuration. Click Next. We want to click I will install the operating system later. Click Next. Hit Other and version MS-DOS. Click Next. And then you can go ahead and name this machine, and I'm going to name it MS-DOS for CIS 140. Excuse me. I'll let it locate it where it wants to. And then Mr. Mason said we probably only need about half of a gig for this, so we'll change that and click Next. Now here you will want to customize your hardware. We're going to highlight floppy and use a floppy image, and here's where we will browse to our desktop folder, click all files, and you want to have disk 1 highlighted. Click Open, and then this is where I was having a meltdown earlier today, where we want to connect at power on. Make sure that you have that clicked. I sent an email out to everybody asking for help, and then after a break I figured out what I had done wrong. So make sure it's connected power on, disk 1, and hit OK, and hit Finish. Now this brings you to your virtual workstation, and you want to power your virtual machine on. Alright, now to maneuver within this screen, we have our cursor here, our arrow. Go ahead and left click, and now we are working inside of this screen. So it says press a key to continue. Always look at what's at the very bottom. It tells you what to do next. So you can press any key, and it's asking to initialize a disk, and we want to say yes. This is all part of the FDisk process. Here we want to select option number 1, create a partition, so make sure you hit number 1, and select option number 1 to create a DOS primary partition, so 1 again. Go ahead and say yes to use cylinders, and to verify the data area we don't necessarily have to do that for our use, so we're just going to say no with an N, and then label your disk, and label it anything you want to. Hit enter. And now we're going to take control back again with our cursor. So we will want to hit Control Alt, which creates our cursor, and we're going to power down this machine. So hit the red box as if we're sure, and we're going to power off. Okay, so we're going to reboot this machine. So we're powering back on. And here we are in the install program. Again, we need to click inside the white area. You'll be maneuvering by hitting enter and using your up and your little arrow things. So we want to continue with installation. That's highlighted. We hit enter. And then here at the bottom, where the blue stripe is at the bottom, you see that hitting enter accepts the license. We want to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and put your name in if you'd like, and whatever has the little arrows on the side there, that is hit enter to choose that. We can just go ahead and enter through these because these are not necessarily important to what we're doing. Hit next. Same thing here. We're just going to move through till we get to the point where it starts downloading right here. and you can see that it is installing that disk number 1. Alright, it comes to the point where it's asking for disk number 2. So what we need to do is take Control again with Control Alt. We're going to go up here, and in View we want to check our sidebar. We will right click on our machine. So right click, and at the very bottom is Settings. This takes us back to that Settings Customize. We're going to hit Floppy, and we're going to browse all files and choose disk number 2. Hit OK. Click back in here and hit Enter for OK. Now it is installing disk number 2. We're going to do this for 3, 4, and 5. Control Alt, right click, Settings, Floppy, Browse, All Files, 3, Open, OK, click back in, hit Enter. You can see that it's unpacking all of these different files, things that are needed for DOS. This process actually goes fairly quickly, even though you have 5 disks. There wasn't a whole lot to DOS, but it certainly was the beginning of great things to come. Control Alt, right click, Settings, Floppy, All Files to disk 4, Open, OK, click in, hit Enter. We're now unloading, copying, writing disk 4. And now finally our disk number 5. Okay, when the installation is complete, we're going to hit Enter to continue. Alright, at this point in time, we're going to gain control with our cursor. We're going to stop our machine and power it off. Now we're going to right click on DOS again in the settings, and this time we're going to go through and browse and choose our boot disk. Hit OK, and we're going to power this virtual machine on, and it will power up with the boot disk. Now here we're going to start the computer. We're going to go ahead and choose 2. Oh, well, we'll start it there. Enter choice 2. Okay, with a CD-ROM support. We're going to wait these couple seconds right here. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to make a change in the boot disk. When we get the A, we're going to change directories to RC. Okay, so we're going to C. Oh my, there we go. That's why I couldn't do it. Okay, C hyphen backslash, and we're going to type edit config sys and hit enter. All right. Change the directory. All right, we're going to do that. We changed the directory, and now we're going to edit config sys and hit enter. All right. Now maneuvering within here is a little difficult, and so we are going to arrow over here. You can see I'm using the arrows over here. We're going to add something. So here we are going to put in exclude equals capital E, 3 little O's, dash, and a capital E, F, F, T. All right. Now, we're going to hit Alt in order to save. We edited. All right. File, save, and we're going to Alt, gives you control here, hit enter, and we're going to exit. All right. Now we want to go back in here. We're going to go ahead and stop our machine, power it off. We're going to go back into the settings again. We want to be able to view our sidebar and our settings because we don't want anything to, we don't want this to happen. We don't want it to connect to anything at the power on. So even though we have this in there, we're not going to worry about it. We don't have any power on. We hit OK. And we should be able to turn on our machine and have DOS. There we are, DR-DOS. And that is how you install the MS-DOS system, although this is Caldera, DR-DOS, version 7.03, onto our VMware. Thank you very much.